This episode of The Republic is brought to you by Netflix. For a free 30-day trial, head on over to netflix.com/GameBreakerTV.
GameBreaker TV.
Hello. What's up, everybody? I'm Gary again, and you're watching Game Breaker. This is The Republic, episode 119 for January 3rd, 2013. On today's show, we're going to talk about BioWare's plans for 2013. They were all revealed in the second State of the Game address. Joining me, as always, from SWTOR is Mr. Larry Everett. How are you, sir?
Doing pretty good. I'm excited. New year, right?
New year, 2013. Happy New Year. Happy New Year. Get your lightsaber ready.
I do. Right there.
And Mr. Justin Lowe. How are you, sir?
Very good. Yourself? I got bit by a tick yesterday, and it was small, and I'm kind of worried about it. So tomorrow I'm going to go to the doctor and get some amoxicillin and just pump full of antibiotics. I just chop
if
it
all of a sudden you just
zombie apocalypse is starting there.
Spontaneously just fall over in your chair during the middle of the show and you go missing, we'll know what happened.
We'll know exactly what happened.
Yeah.
All right, let's jump into it. So Jeff Hickman gave us the second Star Wars The Old Republic State of the Game address. And I was thinking about doing something else. What was I thinking of doing? How about, let's start off a SWTOR show by talking about a giveaway that we're going to give away World of Warcraft. How about that? I don't want to forget this. I almost forgot this. No, we're giving away a World of Warcraft Mists of Pandaria Collector's Edition signed by the entire dev team. This is like prime collector's edition right here, signed by the Blizzard team. Go over to GameBreaker.tv/giveaway. That's where you can enter to win this bad boy. And part of it is go over to our new YouTube page, GameBreaker Nation. So it's youtube.com/GameBreaker Nation. Go over there and subscribe. You got to do it if you go over to enter into the contest as well. So do it. All right, back to the
I hear World of Warcraft is like SWTOR, but with real swords instead of lightsabers. That's what I hear.
And they've got better fantasy level 1 axes over there as well.
That's right.
All right, so BioWare gave us the second, like I said, State of the Game address this week. Don't worry, BioWare. We'll be gentle. I have lube. Don't worry.
Wow.
First up, Jeff Hickman had this to say.
We'll be gentle.
That would hurt. Ouch. So Jeff said, as you can probably imagine, the launch of the free-to-play option with our new cartel market has been an amazing event for our game. The game is incredibly healthy with an ever-increasing number of players who are actively playing. The servers are rocking. He then said, having said that, we know we haven't gotten everything perfect, and we are still working hard to make the Old Republic everything you guys desire. I don't know. Probably the closest thing we're going to get to numbers, since going free to play, we're not going to get any subscriber numbers anymore. I like to keep on an update. Are the servers rocking? Are the servers rocking? What do you think?
Yeah, every weekend, at least one server, if not multiple servers, are full. And I don't know about. I haven't had to wait in a queue. Have you had to wait in a queue, Justin?
I haven't had to wait in a queue, but it's been close to full almost all the time.
I have seen them go full during the weekend. They're usually very heavy during peak times on the weekends, and so I think.
Has there been any update? I mean, pretty good. I think this is probably the closest we're ever gonna these little vague remarks just about population. I mean, now that it's gone free to play, we kept speculating about the calls and stuff. No updates, nothing like that. No, we haven't heard anything, right? We're not gonna. No numbers chatter out of the BioWare camp as of yet.
No, I don't know that they can actually have any definitive numbers at this point, to be perfectly honest, because when you're in a free-to-play game, which is one of the, let's say, safety nets of having a free-to-play game, is that subscriber numbers or user numbers aren't indicative of how many people are actually playing the game, because there's so many free players that are on there. They're not, and there's also players that, you know, and when I say free, they also, you're talking about people that pay for things from the cartel market, and then you have subscribers on top of that. So it's not, it's actually a really good safety net for them to be free to play, to be perfectly honest, because now they could actually not talk about numbers and be okay.
But the good thing is, it sounds like when you guys log into your servers respectively, that they're pretty. There's a pretty good population. There's stuff to do. And there's people around, because that, like we always said, that's the cornerstone of a good MMO, is a population and a community. And if you lose that completely, and I don't care if you have 100 servers or one server. If that one server is good, you can still have a good time if there's a passionate group of people there. So
yeah,
yep. All right, so that's good. Final quote. He says, they haven't gotten everything perfect. No.
Yeah.
I don't think anyone's going to argue that. So
no. Yeah, I think that it's definitely a step in the right direction to admit, you know what, we didn't get everything perfect, but we know these things are not right, and we are going to fix them. That is always a good step in the right direction, I think. Even if it is, you know, covered and coded in PR speak, it's still a good thing to have out there, that they know that there are issues and that they're fixing them. Well,
let's get through this and decide whether we think they're back on track by the end of the show. So next up, Jeff had this to say. He said, in our game update 1.7, you should look forward to some interesting changes to a special PvP area that you have all been asking about. Sorry for being cryptic, but this is technically not announced yet. As well as a visit from some old friends, the Gree Enclave, though maybe not in a way you would expect. So obviously, I would say referring to Ilum. I'm surprised that they still have to be cryptic about this, since this wasn't so cryptic at
It
PAX.
sounds like this was written months before, like either months before or weeks before their live stream, when they announced it officially on the stream. When they talked about in several interviews, especially even at PAX, like you mentioned before, where they basically talked about, you know, with us specifically and other places as well, that about this alien race that would come down and invade Ilum. So the connections are obviously there, and people who know what they're talking about know that this is about Ilum. So hopefully, we'll see it sometime soon.
Yeah, I wonder why they're still being cryptic about it. Maybe, like you said, maybe it was written a lot earlier, because that falls pretty much right in line from what we heard from, like you said, Gabe. That was like early 20. He said it was going to be early 2013. I think we knew about that or something.
January,
I think they're possibly being cryptic about it, and not necessarily that it's about Ilum, but about what they're doing in Ilum, because they still haven't given us, really, quite frankly, any clues as to what is actually happening in Ilum. We assume that it's going to be open world PvP, because, you know, obviously that's what Ilum is currently, but they haven't actually announced what they're doing with Ilum.
That's up for debate. We could get to some more quotes later. Yeah. We can kind of try and figure out what they're doing. I don't know. What about the Gree? Those are those robot guys who speak funny, right?
They're the alien race that's involved in the Terror from Beyond operation, which kind of speak funny as well. But yeah, they are in that thing. So they're continuing on this tracker like they did with the Dreadmasters, where they're continuing with the theme. And it seems like, every couple months they start a new theme and they continue on with that. And right now it seems all about the Dreadmasters. And maybe this is supposed to be part as well with that initial patch they were doing with 1.6, before it got chopped up into several pieces. So this is probably part of that, and that's why it was probably all themed and supposed to come along with this. But it's kind of good that they're continuing this whole theme process. I think it's actually a good thing for the game, and hopefully they'll continue that going forward.
Larry, how do you think the Gree will actually make a return? How do you expect them to come back?
You know what? I'm not exactly sure, because the Gree were actually, as far as lore is concerned, the Gree were the people that first created like Coruscant, like the inner workings of Coruscant, and made it a hospitable planet. And so I'm not sure exactly they were also precursors to the Ricotta, which Ricotta was part of the Infinite Empire. These guys that that basically use the Force to create things. Like they created the Twi'leks, they created the Zabrak. I'm really kind of interested to see what the Gree are gonna bring. But I'm not sure. I mean, the first real inclination that we had that the Gree were going to be involved in anything at all was with Terror from Beyond, because everything that is in the Terror from Beyond instance is from the Gree. It's like this is like the computer mechanisms that you run into. If you've seen the video where you're all the Tron colors and that kind of thing, that's inside a Gree computer. And the actual hypergates themselves are part of the whole Gree technology and whatnot. So I don't know. Maybe they're going to come back and say, "Hey, guess what? We want to rule the world now." I don't know.
Yeah, there's a ton of Gree up in this game, that's for sure.
You got some Gree up in your piece.
Yeah.
Maybe they're coming back in huts. Yeah. BioWare love huts. Maybe they're going to be inside huts.
They are like the evil version of huts, basically. I mean, as far as like
are they?
Kinda.
I don't know. I find them a little more benevolent than huts are.
Oh, okay, all right.
But they aren't. They're usually seen as, I would say, the light side of things, whereas the Ricotta are kind of seen as the dark side of the old world, like before Jedi and stuff like that. But I don't think they're as light as we're led to believe. I think they're a little more dark side than that. Maybe that's how they're a little more like the huts.
Next up, BioWare. This is BioWare's plan for keeping level 50s occupied. Jeff said, "We have a plan mapped out for the upcoming year that will keep the Elder game fresh and interesting for people of all types. Overall, we're aiming to introduce a more diverse array of activities, more stuff to do with your companion, more challenges to tackle with groups, and more reasons for guilds to recruit. We'll also be improving our itemization, introducing new incentives to revisit existing areas, and a lot of other exciting things that will be revealed as we move through the upcoming year." Before anyone freaks out, he, of course, did mention the usual flashpoints, operations, and PvP areas as well. But that's, I think, what was just kind of given what we expect. Definitely intriguing. Sounds like a lot of stuff on paper. More stuff to do with your companion. Justin, what... I don't know. I had a Jedi makeout joke there, but what was that? We're turning to the dark side.
Yeah, exactly.
Something about that's been so long.
I mean, as far as them promising more in-game content, they've done it a ton before, and I just want to see them prove it. So it's, like I said before, way back, it's time to put up or shut up in this regard. I don't think people, especially the ones that are as hardcore raiders, are even here in the game anymore. They've either gone to another game or gone somewhere else, maybe stopped playing for a little bit, taking a break. I don't think that people who are really looking for that are necessarily here anymore, but then again, maybe there are a few guilds out there that are really looking for it. Hopefully, they will continue to make a promise, and as far as the operation stuff is concerned, because it's really needed right now. And if they can figure out a way and make sure that a path to content is a little bit shorter than it usually has been with these operations, then I think overall that could possibly bring back a lot of people going forward.
Justin, what would you like to see companions used more for? How could they be utilized more, at max level, after the story is all over, all that sort of thing?
Well, I hope that there would be more story and romance arcs for that, which I've always been in favor for. I've been a fan of that stuff, and I've talked a little bit about the fact that some of the characters, especially some of the classes, have characters that literally just stop. The Scorpio is one of those, where you get halfway into a conversation with her, and then
you want to romance Scorpio?
There was a path to romance
robot
Scorpio.
Love. Oh, yeah. That's hot.
No, I'm not saying I want to. I'm saying that it was pontificated about, and then unfortunately just kind of stopped immediately.
That's Gary's version of face palm. It's a mic palm. That's what it is.
Yeah, but I'm saying they there are a couple of companions specifically that kind of just stop immediately and feel kind of weird, as far as the fact that they that was a terrible choice of words.
You're never going to be able to get out of this one now.
All right, just throw my ball.
It's going to be one of those episodes, isn't it, Justin? It's going to be one of those.
Yep, totally.
Continue.
Totally. No. That's all I had to say.
You're done? You're just going to
Hopefully they'll
stop
add
right
some
there?
more. Yep, just going to stop right there.
Larry, you want to pick that up?
No, I'm good.
No?
Justin
You don't wanna
can
get-
have his robot love. We know. It's all right. It's okay, Justin. We're not judging. We're not judging. It's all right.
More challenges. He says more challenges to tackle with groups. That's definitely good to hear about. What do you think? Maybe bigger focus on planetary group questing? What do you guys think there?
I don't know. I think I don't know. Do you go larger? Do you do more? That's really the interesting question here. I think that I like the idea of what they did with, for instance, Dreadtooth, where it's a world boss that perpetually gets more complicated the more times he spawns. I like that idea. Now, however, I just did a live stream this week where we had an 8-man group ready to. Did you? Oh, I'm sorry. Where we had an 8-man group ready to go, and Dreadtooth was at level 3 already, which means we had to have a 16-man to take him down. Well, we had an 8-man, and so we got to 97% before we were all wiped. So I mean, I like that. I like, in theory, I like that idea. However, in actuality, it can be a little daunting, to oh well, somebody's already downed it today. So, but I do like the idea of having more things to do, like, for instance, the world bosses and that sort of thing. Larger groups for larger group instances, that would be great too.
And,
What do you think of more casual? Good.
To that point, I would add that I think the biggest thing that I've been sort of looking for in this later in-game grouping content is more interaction between the factions. Ilum kind of had it a little bit because people could come over and kind of mess with you, and the same thing with all the other planets. But there really wasn't an easy way. They didn't like group you up with other players and properly make it so that it's PvP oriented along with PvE, and something that was a mixture of that with world bosses that would have this little plain area that you guys could fight over for the resources and for the loot would be personally my thing that I would want to see them add, even more so than, let's say, Ilum open world stuff, and maybe more structured objectives. I don't necessarily want that. I just kind of want something where it's people have to fight over the mobs and the loot, and put them in the same place, so that would be some sort of elder game content for grouping.
I know this is kind of the two of you are kind of a tough crowd when it comes to stuff like this, but what about more casual content as far as like stuff that people could just log into, do group up, do quick half-hour type content, and then just get back out, like nothing really long and sort of long term, or doesn't take a lot of your time away from your day. Do you guys agree that would be some good content they'd add in?
They kind of already have a bit of that. Now, I'm not saying that they can't have more, mind you, but they do kind of already have that with flashpoints, especially people that are attuned to flashpoints and have kind of been doing them. I mean, I don't think there's any flashpoint for me personally that doesn't take over 20 minutes to do. And that's 4 people. It's already Group Finder. You queue up for Group Finder, and bam, you're in a hard mode instance. 20 minutes, you're done for the day or whatever. So I think that's kind of there. I would like to see more of them. Yes, definitely. But I think that's kind of like, I think that they've already kind of tackled that area.
The
heroic daily stuff they've kind of done. But yeah.
What do you guys think about the whole where he talks about guild recruitment a little bit more? Like, what do you think? Possibly more in line with maybe guild progression mechanics and things like that?
I would hope there would be some sort of guild person sometime in the future, because it certainly needed that. And like guild calendars, I know I've said it like since the existence of the show.
Guild capital ships.
Yeah.
I've already made my prediction
So-
for Go Capital Ships. That's not happening until 2014. That's my prediction.
Wow. You think the game's going to be around in 2014? Holy crap! Really?
Yeah.
Yeah.
They will. It will. But yeah, like Justin said, calendars, great things to have. I mean, just the whole, definitely progression. I like the idea. I forget which game it was that came right out of the box. Maybe it was Guild Wars 2 that had different perks for guilds that you could progress on. That you just that helped with either crafting or helped with this thing or that thing. Maybe even the ones that give buffs for certain instances or certain raids or things along that line, depending on what you do. I think that would be that would definitely be something cool to do. What is Justin staring at?
I'm just thinking about how many comments I'm going to get on that one comment. I'm just going to get the hate is already going to start coming in. Let's see if this thread can go up to 20 pages on the SWTOR forums. He doesn't play. He doesn't care. He obviously hates the game. He obviously should just hand the show over to somebody else. He doesn't want to do it anymore. Oh. I read them all. Yeah, people think I don't read them. I see it all. I see it.
Yeah,
I love this show. I love this show. I'm not handing this show over to anybody. This show's great. I love this show.
Yeah.
I'd take cheap shots like that and just, that's a firestorm right there. Sorry, Justin, go ahead.
No, I wasn't going to say. I don't know why Larry pointed at me. I was just watching chat and laughing. Sorry.
All right, so let's talk about the Ilum revamp. Like Jeff strongly hinted at that, and he talked a little bit about open world PvP in general. He said, we will be experimenting with a different approach to open world PvP, something that encourages organic PvP in contested areas in a new and interesting way. But do not look for massive new open world PvP this year, outside of what I've mentioned above. It's still on our design wall, but it's taking a backseat to other forms of PvP. There's a little bit of slight confusion around this statement here. I'm going to assume that he means outside of what I mentioned above part is relating to Ilum, and that Ilum's focus is going to be on massive open world PvP. So it's not like they're going to scrap that, because I think people were like, does that mean they're going to scrap that and it's just going to turn into a big war zone? What is he talking about?
But to his point, I don't necessarily think that Ilum is... Well, if they continue with what they're doing, I mean, it depends on what they're doing, right? And as far as I think they're going, it's still going to be a little bit more structured than I think I would enjoy. Like something that would be some of the bigger things that he mentioned, the big open world PvP with no real restriction on what you're doing. I have a feeling that the Ilum at the end of the day will still have some objectives and still force you to get to do things. So it'll be a little bit more structured than I think people would expect Ilum to be long term, but could be wrong, and hopefully I am.
They still haven't done deathmatch. Okay, it was supposed to be with the Ancient Hypergates, but no, I'm sorry. Ancient Hypergates is not deathmatch.
It's Ancient Hypergate now.
Oh, sorry, gate, whatever. It's not deathmatch.
I don't know that changed. That's the other thing. It's like, when was that changed? Like, when did that happen? I don't remember when that became a thing.
Slipped in.
They still haven't done a deathmatch one. That would be so awesome to have a deathmatch one. I'm not personally a big fan of deathmatch instances and that kind of thing, but I think it would be fun for some people to do. I mean, I know my guild and other people that I know love PvP, and one of the things they love doing as PvPers is dueling each other and trying to outmaneuver another team and just annihilate them, and that is really, really hard to do in an objective PvP instance. And even Ancient Hypergate is is an objective one, because even though it's deathmatch, even though you get points for kills, if you don't capture and guard a node, you're sunk. Now, if you capture the node and you didn't have to guard it, that would be something different. I could kind of get that.
Well, the problem is the way that they design this stuff. I mean, it's not really meant for one-on-ones. If you kind of strip it down to one-on-ones, and Togger and Ed used to talk about this a lot, about the fact that there's a lot of different things involved, especially once you start valuing it as an arena game. and in a DM game that you start having to think about as a designer and trying to make sure that everything is kind of even, or at least even in a way that it would sort of shape out. Unfortunately, I think that SWTOR is in a state right now, personally, for me, that I don't necessarily think that all the classes are really balanced in the proper way that they would need to do to be able to be viable in that type of structure. Could be wrong about that long term. They could figure out a way to changing it and make, adding some abilities to classes to make them a little bit more like mirrors, and making sure that this stuff was a little bit easier for that stuff, to break down and the way that they work. But I have a feeling that they'll never actually go that route, and because of that, we'll probably never ever see any sort of DM or arena.
Yeah, any speculation at all about what they might turn Ilum into though? With if I think we're all on the same page, thinking that reading his statement, Ilum still will be some form of massive open world PvP. They're not just going to turn it into a big war zone, but there's something else to this that we don't really know about. Do you guys have any idea what that thing might be? I mean,
my just pulling out of the air speculation. I don't have any basis for the speculation. I've already made it. So I've already made the speculation in the hyperspace beacon, so I might as well just go right out and say it. Is that my speculation is that it's going to be some sort of resource control, in the sense that you control an area, and if you control that area for a specific amount of time, there is a vendor or something like that that upgrades what is available on that vendor, or something along that. That's kind of what I'm thinking. It's some sort of resource control like that, where the longer you hold an area, the better the resources you can gain from it. And which would allow the main thing that you ran into with Ilum was that you would constantly have one faction controlling the whole area, and then there was no reason to obtain or two things. You would either have one faction completely dominating the area, or you would have no reason to attack the other side. However, if you had to resource control for a specific given amount of time, then you could then there's a reason to attack the other people, and there's also a reason to go into the area to try to balance out Ilum as well. So I'm thinking that's what it's going to be, but that's just like I said, completely out of the air. I don't have any basis for that. The
vagueness of the Hickman, we have no idea. Yeah. I don't know. I'm definitely curious to see what it's going to be.
Chat room says I have you heard it here. I have inside info.
Justin, do you have any speculation, or should I just move on?
I have a feeling that it's going to be some sort of tug of war type thing, because unless they blow up Ilum, unless they literally just say we're going to scrap all this content that we've already made, if not, then I have a feeling that it's going to be some sort of tug of war thing instead. Because the biggest problem with Ilum, and people will tell you this before, is that it was just too big for the amount of people that they were expecting to go in there. Even with the servers the way that they are now, I have a feeling that even now they still wouldn't fill up Ilum, and it would still be scattered and kind of terrible. So if they're going to do that and try to keep people focused in a certain area at a time, it would have to be some sort of tug of war system, or like lattice points, like PlanetSide 2, to keep people in centralized areas instead of having to worry about having this big open area with multiple points and you can just capture them wherever you want. It would have to be some sort of tug of war system for it to work in the scale that they want, or at least the scale that Ilum was originally, unless they go back to the drawing board and just blow it up completely, which is possible. Who knows?
I think it's gonna blow up. I don't know. All right, we're gonna move on and talk about some PTS stuff, but really quick. First, I want to tell you guys about a great deal we got going on with Netflix. Get on over to netflix.com/GameBreakerTV today. Sign up for your free 30-day trial. It is absolutely free for 30 days. Sign up. You can stream to your Xbox, your PS3, your Wii, your iPhone, your iPad, tablet devices, all kinds of devices on their streaming services. It's absolutely free for 30 days if you like the service and you want to keep it for it's like $8 a month thereafter, but if you cancel anytime before the 30 days are up, you were charged nothing. Speaking of I see The Walking Dead here. Any of you guys playing The Walking Dead video game, by the way?
It was my game of the year.
It was your game of the year? It's fantastic, isn't it? What did you play it on?
Yeah. I played it on PC. and had some save bug originally that cost me some time, but I figured out the issue. But yeah, it's good.
I played it on my
really
tablet, and it's in my top. I never thought an iPad game would be in my top 5 games of the year. That was my 5th game of the year. I put it on number 5, but on my iPad, it's awesome.
They said that was like kind of the way to play it if you're going to play it. A lot of people kind of
a tablet.
That it works well on the tablet. Yeah,
the controls are phenomenal. Like I was really surprised. Yeah. Like it's like not. I love it's the most interactive like sort of movie / storybook I've ever done. So I love it. Well, yeah, go over to Netflix. You can catch up on the series because they're all up here. I don't think the new season's up here, but I think most of them are up here. Oh, I got to install that thing. Go over to netflix.com/GameBreakerTV. Sign up for your free 30-day trial today. Make sure to use the URL netflix.com/GameBreakerTV. All right, so Hickman talked a little bit about copying characters to the PTS. Holy crap. Is it Christmas? I don't believe it. He says, as of the writing of this letter, we are in focused internal testing of character copies for PTS. You should expect to see this come within the first part of the year. It will provide free character copies to PTS at any time with possible restrictions dependent on our testing needs at any given time. This will also lay the foundation for our new live character transfer system that will be coming later this year. BioWare care because they do. Long time coming. Almost as good as those chat bubbles, Larry. Had to do it, bro. Had to do it. Sorry. But at least, finally they need this. Obviously they need this. And regular character transfers coming to the games. That's another good thing that it's more quality of life stuff.
Didn't say that those were free. Didn't say anything about that.
No, of course not.
I love the smell of cartel coins in the morning.
Yeah. Yeah.
But that's okay. They should charge for something like that with cartel coins.
I'm sure it'll be some off number so that people have like extra cartel coins around. Post it. It's going to just be enough to like be stuck in your inventory like Microsoft points. It'd be great.
It'll be 550 or 650 because you get 100 for the key fob and you get the 500 for subscribing. So that's 600, and you'll need 50 more coins in order to transfer.
Yep.
Oh god, if it is even 650. I think I'm going to shoot somebody.
Or do you think they're not going to allow that? That's the other thing. Maybe they don't allow. Maybe it's like a strict charge, and then they don't allow you to use.
No cartel coins. You just got to pay. Yeah, who knows? Anything's up for grabs.
That'd be even worse. That'd be terrible.
That would be terrible.
Well, actually, anybody that does any kind of screenshot editing, I just did a face palm for everybody to use.
There's a mic palm. Now, next up, something I completely forgot about until it basically set the internet on fire this week. I spoke about same-gender romances. Wow, we heard about this so long ago, and then it just went away. Jeff said, first of all, I want to apologize that this is taking so long to get in the game. I realize we promised SGR to you guys, and that many of you believe that this would be with a companion character. Unfortunately, this will take a lot more work than we realized at the time, and it has been delayed as we focused on the changes required to take the game free to play. As we've said in the past, allowing same-gender romance is something we're very in support of. So, I don't know, am I reading this right? What everyone who wants this, they want romance with a companion character? Is that what everyone wants?
Well, there are some people that are wanting same-gender romance with their companion, with specific companion characters. Basically, I think what the majority were asking for, and honestly, it's not something I believe BioWare will ever deliver, but what they were asking for is something very similar to the way that Dragon Age 2 worked, where just everybody was romanceable, no matter what gender. I think that's what they're wanting, but honestly, I don't think they're ever going to deliver that. I think they're going to make specific characters, specific companions that will swing either way, as it were. What, you're not
I would
looking
really
forward
hope
to it,
that's
Gary?
not
Gary,
what
come
they're
on.
gonna do.
We know you play women characters all the time, Gary, and you want to romance the other women characters on your ship.
They're kind of in a weird place, though, about it. We talked about this before, that, like, if they were going to do it correctly, they would have to make every single character, available to both sides. And that's only if
The
they...
word you're looking for there is bisexual.
Yeah, bisexual, sorry. They would have to do this in a way that it would allow for them to romance multiple characters, because no one's going to like the same character as somebody who they pick, right? Like, they're not going to like the same character that BioWare tells them they can like, right? So at the same time, so that basically means that, like, every single character, they'd have to make sure that every character is able to be romanced by both sexes, in order to make it fair for everybody. Because if they ended up adding characters to the game, like later on, that were of that persuasion, they would have to make sure that was appealed to every single person, which is just not possible. And then the thing that people will write about post that would be that, oh, they're really mad about it because they didn't like the character that they added as the romance option for those classes. So they're kind of stuck in a weird place, right? I have to imagine that they're trying to think about ways around doing this and trying not to piss off everybody else as well, because I'm sure there are plenty of people who would be angry by the fact that their Mako all of a sudden is now also available to the other persuasion. All of a sudden, just out of nowhere, doesn't really fit with like a roleplay or a storyline sense. That it's kind of uncharacteristic for somebody to just all of a sudden, like, hey, now I'm okay. But maybe they could figure out some way of writing in the story to make like reasons for that stuff to come out. Maybe who knows. It just seems like a really weird way to have to write it. Yeah, exactly. Just staple your head.
I'm trying to perform a lobotomy or something. Let's see if this works with a wine opener.
I don't think that's gonna work.
I'm all in support of gay marriage and the whole concept of this. But holy crap, do I feel like I'm the only person that just could not give a crap about this in an MMO? It's like I just want to do stuff and beat up people and shoot people. Sorry. Like, and I'm also but Larry, I'm not a big RPer, but I got your back, bro. Like I support you guys. But I support same. It just seems like I don't know.
It's different strokes for different folks. I mean, people like I personally think it's fun to talk about as far as the story is concerned. Do I ever? This is a really interesting thing, and actually when David Bass actually was part of was community coordinator there, he asked me, do you guys as role players, do you guys use the story of that we're giving you? Basically, do you use the story of the Inquisitor? Do you use the story of the Bounty Hunter in your role play? And quite frankly, no, we don't. But it's fun. It's just another element of fun. I mean, it's similar.
Like I would imagine that role players would just get like do an informal, or it's not official. Like you can go as far as Rift goes, where they have like a certificate or something that says like, oh, you and your whoever in game are now married in game. Whatever. You go. Can't you just do that anyway? Like, do you really need mechanics and stuff? And you could just role play that. Who cares about your companions? Like, really, we need the NPCs to like be our. I don't know. It just seemed this to me like, and I get this. Like, so politically correct, you got to come out and be like, hey, we completely support same gender romances, but if I'm a dev and I'm writing checks on like who's like working on content, you'd be damned if I'm writing a check right now to just like put this in the game. And it doesn't matter. It would be if it was like same sex, alien sex, whatever it is. I would try to think of different things. It wouldn't matter. Like this to me just seems like, I don't want to say a waste of money, but it just seems like a waste of resources.
People are interested in it. You'd be extremely surprised of how many people will sit around and talk about what happens during the romance arcs for specific characters, even on planets.
Well, I'll agree with that. I'll agree. Like in BioWare games, like when they built them into like the entire story arc, and you can have like these big because they're more stories. It's not just about like we're married. It's like they've created story and there's other backstory and there's other things that go on. But that's not just creating content. Like now that's just the whole content thing. This seems to me like it's more like whether they just say, because so here's the next thing. This is why. So Jeff talked a bit about, he said, secondly, I want to reveal today that we are adding SGR to some NPCs on McCabe and do intend on pursuing more SGR options in the future, more details to come. So same gender romance coming on McCabe, not companions.
Casual romance. Yeah. Like
so
I have to assume it's the casual guys, like the people who are just in the world that you're talking or romancing, kind of like the Balmora stuff with that Darth girl. Forget what her name is. But yeah, no. The other thing that's weird about it is that they already technically have an option for this in the game. Like Legacy, you can basically make yourself spouse, with somebody else, even if you're, of the same romance or of the same sex. Like you can still do that. For Legacy. So if you wanted to, like, if you were in the RP mindset, I'm sure you could get around the fact that, it's not like, it's cutscened out. You can still bind it. There's like a way around that as far as that stuff is concerned for your own characters that you have, made yourself. But yeah, for people in the game, there's no option for them. And hope, with the options that coming in McCabe.
Am I crazy or thinking? Because this was a huge story actually when we put it on Game Breaker. Like it was really popular. Tons of people wanted it. But don't you think this entire conversation and this whole point is really more just about it's not even political correctness. It's just more of the political statement of saying that we think this is okay more than anything else to do with the game. Like really all this is about is that for the people who are in favor of it, for sure, like, okay, oh man, we're behind BioWare. This is awesome. The devs are, liberal and saying that this is okay. But this isn't really anything about beyond that. This is more of just like a political view and us thinking that like the guys at BioWare are cool, guys and gals at BioWare are cool because they think this is cool and they're willing to put this in the game. That's really all this is.
Yeah, and BioWare's always been like that. Like that's nothing different for them. All their games have had some options for that, going back to like, quarter one. I mean, there's a long history of it. So as far as that stuff is concerned, they've been a developer that's been kind of leading this stuff. So even before it was, I think a little bit more popular on this end to kind of talk about it and support it. So yeah, it's kind of weird because at the end of the day, regardless of what they think, I don't necessarily want to see them develop it, ahead of, let's say, in-game content or other. I don't want to see them use their resources in a manner that they spend all their time developing this point of view and develop these options in the game, and then literally sit there and spend all their time developing it, and shaft other gamers as well, the people who are actively playing their game and subscribing their game, because again, regardless of numbers, you're talking about maybe 20 or 25% of people who are of that persuasion, either bisexual or the other. So you're not really talking about a lot of people that you could pitch your game at, to get them to buy the game, or to get them to keep subscribing when you can add more content that would be for everybody versus that. So I think I see it more from a developer's point of view in that regard, that it just seems like it's not really a good it's not a good judgment of spending money on. It's not like a good evaluation of things that a developer should spend their time and money on developing. Not that they shouldn't, and they should. And maybe even they could outsource it to another company and have them develop, portions of the content for that. But it just doesn't seem like it's like a priority, or it should be a priority for them to do.
But like, correct me if I'm wrong, because you're on the more side of the RP. You're friends with more RPers and you're in your circle and stuff like that. So wouldn't you sort of want? I'm agreeing with you, Justin, but I'm not agreeing at the same time, because what I'm going to say is what I think most people really want is they just want more good content with more good stories. And if the story then relates to this situation of same gender romance happening, and that's right for the story, well, then that's good content, and you're creating good content, you're creating a good story, and it just so happens that may be one of the that may go to one of the options. That's pretty much just how it goes. But really, we're just talking about making content. Like, are we really talking about just like the mechanic of like in game? I'm now married to this NPC, because this whole McCabe thing of like, it seems ridiculous. Oh, you're gonna same gender romance to it's like NPCs on McCabe.
Honestly, this is what I think it stems from, is that there before the game was launched, players had asked about same gender romances because Mass
They were
Effect.
always in BioWare
because
games.
because of other BioWare games, they had asked about that, and I'm probably going to get this quote all wrong, but somebody at BioWare, and honestly, I think it was Sean Dahlberg that might have said this, said that there's no gay in Star Wars, or that was the quote that was given to him, even if he didn't actually say that. And so therefore it kind of started this little controversy amongst that community that this game is anti-gay. And then when it launched without any kind of same gender romance arcs at all, that just added more fuel to the fire. And so therefore that's why they're mentioning that it is in McKeb. And the way they're doing it in McKeb, from just based off of how it works in let's say Mass Effect 3, is that it's going to be more along the lines of this is just part of the story arc, and this character has romance options for somebody of the same gender, just like if you're playing a smuggler on Alderaan, that you get to one of the nobles has romance options for the smuggler if you're playing a male. That's the way that I kind of see it. It's just one of those. It's part of the storyline, and they're mentioning it because there has been this controversy in the past over it.
Yeah, let's be honest about this. If you had to really analyze it, the only reason why this isn't just a palette swap and they just put it in there is because there are lines specifically devoted to the romance art. So there's text and voice associated with this because it's a big voiceover project. I have to assume that if it literally had no voiceover, that this wouldn't even really be a discussion, that BioWare would just add it in and then it would just go to black like it does in every single other scene, going forward. But the fact that it has voiceover attached to it means that all the other past characters, I doubt that they're going to hire in the old VO guys, have them re-record all their stuff so that they could add in one single option for every single point that they have on the other side as well, for their options, and make them say the same exact thing.
So you sort of feel that if they make this choice, they have to do it for everything, because that just seems ridiculous to me. It just seems if it happens with this one character, that's what it sounds like is going to happen to McCabe. They've got some new content, they revoiced it. They've one or two of these quest lines on McCabe are going to have an NPC that will have the option. You'll have it. It'll cut to black anyway, and then you guys will be happy. Yeah. BioWare liberal, they're pro-gay, and end of the show. Basically, that's
I don't necessarily have any problems with that at all.
No, not at all.
The addition of new characters going on McKeb is fine, but I think the problem is going to be for people who are inclined in this way. The real problem is that they're still feeling like they're getting short shrift, because these aren't characters that you can really have involvements with. These aren't going to be characters that are going to carry on throughout the entire story, like they did for us that are of the opposite persuasion, that what had these intense character romance arcs. Those aren't going to necessarily be in the game, so they're going to have to go back and do all this stuff. So to Jeff Hickmans' point about the fact of it being a little bit more involved for past characters, it kind of shows that if you really look at it, they do have to go back and record all this old dialogue for any of the old characters if that's what they want to do with those old characters. McKeb and feature content, I think that's probably the easiest thing for them to do, but it's maybe they figure out a way to add multiple companions that give them an option for that going forward.
Justin Lowe, follow him on Twitter at Zarok, Z-A-R-A-K. Follow him on the Twitter. Follow him on the Twitter, Zarok. Larry Everett, follow him on the Twitter at Shadow, S-H-A-D-D-O-E, and go over to massively.com every single week and read the Hyperspace Beacon over there at Massively. You can follow me at Gary Gannon, follow Gamebreaker TV at Gamebreaker TV, and don't forget to go over and sign up for our brand new, subscribe to our youtube.com/GameBreakerNation page. Gonna be lots of cool stuff on there in 2013. Make sure to go sub up. And don't forget about our giveaway. That's at Gamebreaker TV/giveaway. If you want to win this bad boy, head on over there. Sign up. Got a few days left. Next week we should be back on our regularly scheduled programming week. Holidays have been a bit crazy, so we're all screwed up of coming out over the weekend. So we'll be back on Monday. Have a great weekend, everybody. See you next week.